We're seeing more and more hatred on our streets and more violence and racial violence on our streets. Why would it not creep into the game of football?
Football is trying to tackle racism from the inside. Youth players at professional clubs like QPR take part in workshops discussing discrimination, which some have already had to deal with.
Victim or witness? Witness.
I was in Russia and then my teammates were racially abused, so I've witnessed it.
As a player witnessing that, what feeling was left with you?
Just fearful, like quite scared.
I think it's important just to educate young footballers, young people in general, about racism, how it's not all right, and that is going on.
Our exclusive investigation last week revealed more than 40 current players in London have been racially abused. And yet football, a £1 billion industry, invests just a fraction of that fighting discrimination. Kick It Out receives its core funding from the FA, Premier League Football League and PFA. Last season, that was £655,000, the equivalent of just 3 months' wages for the average Premier League player. It delivers around 100 education workshops at professional clubs a year, but there's no money left over to visit clubs in the grassroots. Troy Townsend is the only person dedicated to delivering its workshops and sees 1,000 young players a season.
I think if football is really serious about tackling, racism and discrimination, it needs to put its money where its mouth is. And I think we are the leading organisation in terms of providing that education within the game. But we struggle because we can't do more than what we actually do, and that's down to a funding issue, totally.
Former Premier League star John Beresford is the type of player who may have benefited from Troy's talks. He's been awarded an MBE for his anti-discrimination work in schools with Show Racism the Red Card. But as a teenager on the terraces, he was shouting a different message.
I used to come down with my mates and there'd be black players. And at that time in the late 70s, black players were few and far between. But I'd be doing the monkey chants and I would be shouting abuse and things like that. But I never understood. I'd never been told what was right and what was wrong.
What made you change your view and start campaigning against racism?
Just meeting people and understanding, how wrong it was.
His playing days were notorious for racism, and there are fears the sport is taking a step back.
The issues around, for instance, Brexit, which carries a loading, in my view, of racism and prejudice in the way in which issues of immigration and people who shouldn't be here, and we want our country back, and the messages they send out, many of those messages find their way onto the terraces in football.
And I want to again try and understand the impact that some of the stuff that you see has on you.
The message will need to get through to the fans as well as the players.